Welcome to Taiwan Talk. I'm Trevor Tortomasi, and this week I'm speaking with Julia Cao, founder, director, and curator of Oomph. So, Julia, what is Oomph?
Oomph is actually a curation brand. We organize exhibitions and workshops and events, arts events, and like festivals and stuff. And it's not limited to space, but most of the time it's at an art space that we use in the basement of a hair salon in ZhongXiao, FuXing. So we usually have exhibitions once a month, and then we have arts events and music events during the exhibition period, and we curate it. The program is comprehensive so that you can experience the exhibition theme through different mediums, such as like music. It might be a concert, or it might be a handicraft workshop, or it might be an artist talk. In that way, we encourage people to interact with and engage with the exhibition in a deeper and more meaningful way.
Can you help me craft sort of a mental image of what people might find there?
Yeah, so when you enter, you'll come upon a hair salon, and then you'll go down these metal staircase and with lots of posters, and then you'll see a secondhand shop with lots of like weird vintage oddities, and then on your right, you'll find a gallery space. And depending on the exhibition, it'll be totally different. So maybe it'll be like a forest with like birds flying around, or it might be like a little pink dream with like a bed in the middle of the room and like wigs scattered on the floor and Barbies. It depends on the exhibition, but usually we do installation shows. So I really like to immerse the guest in another world, the artist's world. And I really encourage people to interact with the artworks. You know, it's like kind of this full experience.
What factors do you consider when you're arranging the artwork in the space?
First of all, take a look at the body of work, or we develop a body of work for the space. And it's usually an experience. So when you think about like how you walk through an exhibition, it'll construct your understanding of the exhibition. And we process things in a way, it's kind of like building blocks. And so we think about what we want to convey to the viewer and how we want them to experience it. Do we want them to be very confused and then give them the explanation at the end? Or do we want to set them up with a foundation so that they can better understand the works? Like, what kind of effect do we want to be having? And like, what's the best way to present them?
I saw that you have some workshops as well. Can you tell me about the workshops and sort of what people get to make in?
Well, there's one that we recently started in collaboration with Eller, who is this artist that exhibited with us. And it's just it's a creativity workshop. It's a creative thinking workshop, which was really, I thought it was going to be just like this really chill afternoon, have a glass of wine and just like, laugh with your friends and like collaging. But it was like actually really, really intense. It was like a theme every 10 minutes. And then after you put your pens down, it's like, okay, stop. Okay, now the next theme. And then so that was like going for 2 hours. And by the end, we were all just kind of sweating and like breathless and like a little angry because we're just like, we're so...
Was one of the themes run around in a circle for 10 minutes?
No, but it's just such a mental workout.
Okay.
There's just been so many, so I'm just like naming the most recent ones, but it hasn't really been limited either to theme. And usually someone will be like, hey, like I teach like weaving, or like, hey, I want to do this workshop on like improv, or I want to teach how to do taxidermy, which we had like a bunch of taxidermy workshops during one of our exhibitions with birds. Taxidermied birds turned into sculptures and paintings, kind of, but
wow.
Birds, yeah.
Actual what was the biggest thing you taxed?
That we taxed? Uh-huh. Oh, well, you know, we taxidermied budgies, like kind of smaller birds, because we had only like 5 hours. There was like a weekend workshop, so it's like 10 hours total, I guess. And they're an ethical taxidermy artist. So usually like people who raise birds, they'll have like 50 birds. I don't know. If you're a bird person, you're a bird person, apparently. Uh-huh. And so...
We just had a bug person in here, and he was talking about how crazy bird people are. I assume that bird people might say the same about bug people.
Probably.
So.
I mean... If you're into
and we're just watching from the side like, I don't know which one I want to win.
I like dogs a lot. I want to have a Shiba farm eventually, but not like I'm farming them, but like a sanctuary for Shibas where I just get to like lie back at the end of the day and they just all like bury me under their warm bellies.
Can you tell us about the performances?
Yeah, sure. So because we usually plan our exhibitions 8 months to 12 months in advance, it's usually a lot of time to kind of bring in these different elements from what seems to be like very far away. I really encourage the exhibiting artists to collaborate with other artists during their exhibition period because I hope for it to be kind of like a very active and inspiring time where they can develop their work even further afterwards. So maybe they're trying mediums they've never tried before.
What sort of collaborations has Oomph made with other artists or other movements?
So usually how our collaboration begins would be I would get to know the artist well, or as well as I can over a long period of time. So usually we prep for our exhibitions 8 months to 12 months in advance. Artists don't really get a lot of opportunities to really just kind of push their creativity to the limit. So for me, it's like any ideas you have, things that you've always wanted to do, like let's make it happen. We've been involved with Urban Nomad for 5 years. Urban Nomad is an indie film festival, and we've helped out with the music festival part of it for 5 years now. So I curate the circus stage and the kind of artsy market and like food vending part, and also the performers and like the art decor, and that usually happens in April of every year. Oomph is hopefully one of those things. Like we just always want to feature and support like projects that are worthwhile, but maybe they're not as good at broadcasting themselves or getting the word out there. Just kind of really trying to pick and feature and support things that is worth taking a closer look at and celebrating. And sometimes they're kind of like the silly, weird underdogs, but that's kind of like the projects that we're most excited about.
How would you get past artist block or spur the creativity of someone who might not be feeling too creative?
Well,
in a workshop or in day-to-day life?
I think if you're looking for inspiration, maybe you should change your perspective. And it's easier said than done because I can't just be like, okay, I'm just going to look at things a different way. So what I would recommend is actually just change your setting or maybe your daily routine. Go, like walk in a neighborhood you haven't walked, do something totally unexpected, try food that you've never tried. Because like when you're going through the same thing every day, you just kind of start taking everything for granted and you kind of start glazing over. So what I hope for them to learn, I guess, is that there really aren't any boundaries and that it's okay to just like not take art that seriously and just have fun with it. And that anyone can do, you can try. Like I really encourage people to participate. It can be a really fun thing that anyone can incorporate into their life. It's not really something reserved for people that have been in art school for several years, or you don't really need to be specifically qualified.
All right, well, thank you, Julia, and thank you all for tuning into this week's episode of Taiwan Talk with the amazing Julia Cao, founder, director, and curator of Oomph. See you next time.